So, dear participants, so hope that you enjoyed your 40 minutes break. Right now, we will continue for another 5 minutes in a kitchen. So, what's with the jam? Is it finished?
Yes, finally.
Cooked.
Finally.
So,
After 4 hours, we are
okay,
finished.
really, 4 hours. Yes. So, it's ready to be put in the jars.
Put in the jars.
Okay.
Yes, jars are sterilized in oven.
Always, yes, of course.
And just put it
inside. So just go to the ingredients. Plums, sugar, teaspoons of cinnamon, which is optional, yes.
Optional.
A bag of vanilla sugar, which is optional. And also rum, which is obligatory.
Yes, obligatory.
I love your recipe.
Yes.
So, dear participants, you can find the recipe starting from next week on our official website.
For jam and for
the cookies. Yes, yes. But tomorrow we will see you once again.
Yes,
with some new recipe.
New recipe?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
shall we say what is it? We can say it in Croatian because they will not know. Sarma.
Sarma.
Oh, do you know what sarma is? You can try to Google. Okay. I will not taste it right now because of my makeup. I can taste it later, but I believe that it's good.
It's delicious.
How many grams of sugar inside? 400 grams.
Not enough.
Not enough, never enough. Thank you, Hervé, so far. It was nice to have you in our kitchen and our studio today. See you tomorrow. Okay, and right now, let's go back to Kristen and continue with some presentations.
Thank you very much, Mariana. So we will continue with the next session that will be about presentations. First, I would like to say that Greta provided the dates for the March meeting, March 2022. I don't know if all of you saw it in the chat. So the proposed dates will be 28th of March until 2nd of April, and this period also includes the travel time. So we will put inside all the different meetings in this period, and of course you will have more information when the meeting is approaching, as soon as we have decided the frame totally. So I would like to once again say thank you to all the presenters that when we asked you to present, invited you, you were quick saying yes, and you were preparing this in such a short time. During the break, I was doing a walk around Prochega, and I also have learned now that during this year they have a very, very strong hailstorm that destroyed not only cars but also houses. So also this area has been affected of the climatic issues, the change of climate, and we are all concerned, of course, of the reports from the ICCP. And I would like to just introduce the first speaker. That it will be Jutta from Bergstrasse Odenwald, that will talk about their work for their climate heroes. So please, Jutta, I think you are going to share your screen and giving us the presentation called Climate Heroes, Citizen Science for Climate Protection. Examples went from Bergstrasse Odenwald.
Okay, dear colleagues and friends, I hope that you can see my screen. I see nothing now. Can you give me feedback maybe?
We see you, but not your shared screen.
Okay, so then I try to do it different. Okay, so once again.
Yeah. Now it looks promising. If you have full screen now, we see your presentation, but not in full screen.
Yeah. Is it now a full screen?
No.
No, not at all. Okay, so I try again. Sorry for that. Usually it works, but sometimes it's a bit tricky.
I think we have been quite experienced with this kind of problems during our digital meetings.
Yeah. So I have two monitors, and I have chosen the second one, and I hope that it's now working.
It's not full screen as far as I can see, but
It's strange. For me, it's full screen. How is it for the others?
But I think we all can see your slides, so maybe you can just...
And how about now?
No. F5, but I recognize the problem with two monitors, but...
But I'm used to the 2 monitors, so yeah. I have tried it again, so a new one. So, does it work now?
Perfect, yeah. Jutta, thank you. Yeah, it's working.
Okay. Sorry for the delay. Thank you for your patience. So, dear colleagues, I'm happy to share with you our experiences and our thoughts regarding a new project which we have initiated, which is called Climate Heroes. As Christian has already mentioned, we are facing a lot of challenges due to climate change, due to global change regarding biodiversity, regarding our climate. And who else than the geoparks are in the position to communicate what to do, how to proceed, how to face all these challenges, and maybe also how to change own behavior and to create awareness. And so we have initiated this new project, which is called Climate Heroes. It's a citizen science project, and we hope that the people become a bit more aware how to protect our climate. Maybe for those who don't know us, we are situated in the southwest of Germany, an area of 3,800 square kilometers, extending over 3 federal states. We have 7 counties and 102 member communities inside. So a lot of people and networking partners to create new projects and to implement new ideas. We are indeed, as you all, a member of, meanwhile, 169 UNESCO Global Geoparks, and 81 are situated in Europe. And we are really proud being a part of this global network. So, as we all, our UNESCO Global Geopark connects our planet Earth. This means how we are a part of our planet with the natural environment. And in this context, how we treat our natural resources. We also connected with the cultural achievements, which means how we modify this natural environment to a cultural landscape, and indeed with the people. And this means how do we want to live today and tomorrow? So everything depends on each other, and we want to develop that in a sustainable way for our territory. And this is called our holistic philosophy, which we all follow amongst this European and also this global geoparks network. We network in a regional way, including all different partners, which I do not mention in detail because I think these are also your partners in your territories. And we indeed are networking internationally in the UNESCO context with the global network and also with the UNESCO designations inside our own territory, like World Heritage Site Messel Pit. We are cooperating with Marie-Louise since 2003, so for quite a long time. And also we contribute to UNESCO programs like the Sustainable Development Goals 2030, and we are model territories for this global agenda. In our context, the SDGs of the agenda are our guideline and umbrella for all projects, for all corporations, and also for our visions. And in this context, we have created the Climate Heroes, which is a participation project and at the same time a pilot project for a local community called Mömlingen. And we are very happy that we can support in detail our SDG 13, which is climate action, as well as SDG 16, which is peace, justice, and strong institutions. And we are also happy to be able to support this Climate Heroes in the context of the Heritage Project, which is an EU project in relation to Horizon 2020. And several European geoparks are also part of this Heritage community. So going a bit more into detail, Our objectives are to learn more about climate change, indeed, in the local and in the global context, to experience how to handle digital resources and how to collect data, and also to provide individual solutions and approaches. We want to activate people, and we also want to involve the decision makers, because without them, you cannot achieve anything. So a short description how we want to do that. We give the citizens digital resources. So we have knowledge inside our own team. So we have created a special app to do this digital collecting. We offer applications, and to collect this data, we integrate the actual developments like flooding, like fires, and everything which appears during this project. And we provide the decision makers reports and interactive replications. How do we do that? We have implemented 4 workshops. The first 2 workshops have already taken place. The third workshop is in progress, and the 4th workshop is a final event. The first workshop was in a digital way, and it dealt with climate change, with the basics. So we informed very, very general about climate change, and then we picked up a special topic, which was how about our own mobility? How do we move inside the territory? Who use the bicycle? How often do we use our cars? How about public transport? And we mapped that in a digital way, and it was very interesting, the outcome, and it makes us think about our own behavior. The second workshop was due to climate change in our forest, because in our territory, we very, very much are aware of climate change, because our forests dry out and they die. A lot of forests die, and the Department of Forestry has a lot of work to remove the died trees out of the forests due to the danger of forest fires. And it changes tremendously our landscape and the impressions of our landscape. So it's a big impact. And we had the workshop, the second workshop, and we asked ourselves also about how about trees for the future? Which type of trees can survive in this changed climate? And very soon we will have our next workshop on September the 16th. Due to the general topic, we ask ourselves each year a century flood. You maybe remember that we had in Germany very recently very, very heavy floods, and it was a big destruction. So we have a panel discussion, and we have the mayor of this local community. For myself, I'm also a part of this panel. We have a university professor from the Technical University of Darmstadt. We have a member of the Federal Weather Forecast Department of Germany, and we have a water engineering company which can talk about real practices. So we are looking at challenges, we are looking at our tasks, and we try to find perspectives for the local and also for the global perspective. A short look at our data collection with the app. At the left part, you can see the app regarding our own mobility. And on the right side, you can see the collecting app regarding the forest issue. So a collection, go out, collect trees, and collect damages, and send it back to us. And all information go to the interactive dashboard, and we can quantify and we can summarize it up. And each individual who sends us back information via app can get badges. The more data the people collect, they get the more badges. And at the end, we convert that into prizes. So you can become a climate pioneer, a climate discoverer, a climate guide, a climate ranger, and at the end you can become a climate hero. The more data you collect and the more replies you send us. And if we have more than 500 data entries, we have promised the local community that we plant 500 climate resilient trees for them. And they have already identified a place to do that. So our climate heroes are, let's say, a tool to initiate activity in the local community, to offer general information, to foster their knowledge, to create awareness for this topic in many ways and in many aspects, and finally to contribute to the Agenda 2030 on a local scale. So this is a short overview of our climate heroes, and I thank you for your attention, and I'm open for questions.
Thank you very much, Jutta, and especially for making this inspirational presentation, also demonstrating how a geopark can give tools to the citizens and have information back and also give them the feeling of being active and doing something. We have actually said that we are saving up questions and comments after the 3 first presentations. I hope that will work. If you have a question and if maybe you are afraid to forget about it, you can already write it in the chat, and Mariana will help me to put these questions forward after the 3rd presentation. So therefore we are moving on. I think we all got quite shocked to see the pictures and films from the floodings in parts of Europe this summer. And I'm very happy that Alain Petit from Famenne Ardennes UNESCO Global Geopark accepted to give us a short presentation. Please, Alain, I hope you are ready to present Floods in the Famenne Ardennes UGGP, Facing the Realities and Recovery.
Yes, hello Christine. I'm going to share my screen. I hope it will be okay.
See you at least and your presentation. Good.
Do you see the presentation?
Yeah, we see the presentation, but not in full screen.
I think it's okay. And can you hear me also?
Now,
yes.
We hear you, but now we see it's more in the presentation mode, isn't it? Now it's the presenter view.
Presentation or not? Yes.
So we see 2 slides.
Is it okay for the presentation? Do you see it?
Do you manage to have only one slide at a time? Because now we can see. They tell me here it's the presenter's mode. That makes your slide a little bit smaller.
Yes. So I have to. I think like this. Is it better
okay.
or not?
I think.
Okay.
I think we can do it this way. Yeah.
Is it okay for everyone?
Yep.
Okay. So thank you and hello everyone. So as you know, we had some terrible floods in the Famenne Ardennes UNESCO Global Geopark in Belgium, and this tragedy took place from the 12th till the 15th of July 2021. So on the screen you can find the situation of our geopark just here in the south part of Belgium, in the provinces of Luxembourg and Namur, just between Luxembourg and Brussels, at 100 kilometers from Brussels and the same distance from Luxembourg. I also like to mention that besides the floods, 1 month before the floods, we have a terrible tornado in the geopark with around 100 damaged houses in the city of Borin, which is part of our UNESCO Global Geopark. So concerning the floods, so some general observations. So these severe floods were caused by very heavy rainfall over a period of 1-2 days. Also wet conditions already before the event and local hydrological factors. It's also important to mention that at the time of the heavy rainfall, the soils were already partly saturated. It was also a problem. The observed rainfall amounts broke historical rainfall records in Belgium. And also the heavy rainfall fed the various rivers, which flooded the alluvial plains. Concerning these floods, I think it was 39 scientists from different countries coming from Belgium, Germany, Netherlands, Switzerland, France, Luxembourg, United States, and United Kingdom have worked together to assess the extent to which human-induced climate change has altered the likelihood and the intensity of heavy precipitation, events leading to severe flooding. As a result of climate change and rising global temperature, some years are heading towards severe droughts or intense rainfall in events. In Belgium, it was in 2019 and 2020, we had some very dry periods with very high and unusual temperature. Here, it's, I think, a very interesting map of what happened in Belgium, but also in Luxembourg and Germany, of course. On the right side, you have the sum of precipitation during 24 hours on the 13th of July and the 14th of July. On the left side, you have also here the location of our geopark. So you can see that the main point, the black point of these floods were concentrated in Belgium, in the province of Liège, but we were badly affected also in our geopark. Here, this is a map of our geopark with the situation of the main rivers crossing the geopark, with the main river, la Lesse, la Lomme, la Wam, l'Ourthe. The main municipalities concerned by the floods were located around Rochefort and Marchand-Famenne, but also Othon and Durbuy. On this slide, we have a station, a meteo station in Chanly, which is located quite in the center of the geopark. You have here the monthly average of precipitation. So we can see that during the fall last year, from 2018 to 2021, if you look at 2021, you have here the monthly average of precipitation in our geopark in May, in June, and in July. Is going up and up, and that was the only phenomenon like that in the last 4 years. The other year, it was quite different. So it's also an explanation of what happened in our geopark, but also in Belgium. You have also here the flow rates in the geopark in comparison with the last flows observed in the last 50 years. So you can see that in the cube meter per second, for example, on the Lomme River, which is going through the city of Rochefort, in the last 50 years, we had 75 cubic meters per second, but this year it was 171 cubic meters per second. It was quite terrible. It's quite the same phenomenon on the river l'Ourthe. Here you have a picture of what really happened in our geopark in two main cities, Rochefort and Durbuy, with the Lomme River, which is here, you can see the normal way of the river. Oh, sorry, I have to go back. And the results of the floods on the left and the right sides. Concerning Durbuy, you have also here the main way of the river l'Ourthe, with also all the effect of the floods. Here you can see some pictures of what happened. Picture in the city of Rochefort. You can see damaged bridges, for example, but also water in some streets, with sometimes more than 2 meters in some houses. It was quite terrible for people. Here also some results of the floods in the city of Rochefort. Some pictures also here are more located in Jemel. It was the connection between the river La Wam and La Lomme was terrible. It was a bridge before. It's quite strange to say that, but here it was a bridge. Also people walking after the floods. Here also another bridge with the river coming up the bridge. And we had also the visit of Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission on the field in our area, but also the Prime Minister, Alexander De Croo, in the small village of Jemelle. So what can we say? These floods, they were the largest in the century in Belgium. So they affected the Geopark, but also all Wallonia, the south part of Belgium, with 202 municipalities concerned. But also it's important to say that the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg and Germany were also concerned. At this moment, it's quite difficult to have the right number, but there are 42 deaf people in Belgium, including 1 victim in our Geopark in the village of Ampto. In the Geopark, it's also not easy to have the right number, but I had some figures from the municipalities. So a total of 4,206 families were affected by the floods. Some, as you can imagine, some lost everything, even all their souvenirs, which is terrible for us. Many infrastructure were also destroyed, as you can see it on the previous pictures, or damaged. Houses, of course, buildings, roads, bridges, sports centers, some shops with partial or total closure. We had also some problems with communication, with the partial closure of communication networks and water supply, which was difficult to connect people between them to exchange news and what really happened. So what were the direction at the local level? It was quite new for our place, because it was the first time since a long time. We met a very beautiful solidarity between politicians, emergency services, inhabitants, local association to help the victims. It was also very nice to see the beautiful solidarity coming massively from outside, from other places in Belgium, but also from, for example, from France. It was very nice to see it. We can say also that social networks played a major role in providing information, but also in centralizing help for the victims. It was not, I can say that it was not easy to have a good overview of everything, but because there were so many messages on Facebook, for example. But it was nice to work with social networks to help all the victims. In each municipality, there were also some crisis center. To set up to help people and to give some donation for the victims concerning food, also of course clothing, basic necessities, household appliances. It was also, and of course, because more than 4,000 families concerned by the flood, a big need to find emergency accommodation for disaster victims on normally a long term, because it needs sometimes 5 or 4 or 6 months to find the house back. What was the impact on Geopark activities? We have what we call tourist attractions, which are partners of the Geoparks, and there are also geosites of the Geopark. I mean attraction with paid access for tourists. 10 tourist attractions have been impacted. It was quite crazy, because sometimes there are closure of only 4 days, but also of 32 days for some attractions, because of the necessity of cleanup and repair work. Of course, because we are a very touristic place in Belgium, many riverside campsites were also badly damaged. Many natural sites were also damaged, with a lot of waste accumulated everywhere. Geopark products have been also affected, as geotrails and GR secrets, with the need to find information on the situation. Is it possible to go there and to go there? It's not easy to have the good information, and to find alternatives to permit these Geopark products to go on. We had many also connection with all the tourist offices, because it was very important to have a good view of what happened what is still open, what is closed as accommodation, as attractions and everything. So we had a very good connection with the tourist offices. As a geopark, we are planning to organize in the next week or the next month some public sessions explaining the floods, but also the tornado. I just share to you a picture of what happened in Borin in the geopark. Some effects and also issues concerning the floods. So we met, it was quite strange, but we met a phenomenon of voyeurism, I hope you understand, by some tourists and inhabitants. Also some discomfort of visitors to go to a tourist area which met such floods, but also the discomfort of some inhabitants concerning the return to their homes, but also having volunteers enter their privacy. It was quite a problem. We also decided to cancel and to postpone some events because of the solidarity. Is it a good idea to maintain some events during this period? So we decided to postpone some of them. What I like to mention is it's a very strong help from Flanders, so the Flemish part of Belgium, to support the tourist revival. We not directly the geopark, but the tourist office of quite the same area received an amount of 5,000 euros to help us to restart the tourist activity in the geopark. It was very nice. Also, some difficulties of concerning that we ask ourselves, do we have to make promotion during these floods? Is it a good idea? I think it was a good idea because we have to support all the area and all the people, the attractions, the accommodations suffering of these floods. What was the real problem? It was, I think, during 1 month after the floods, that tourists still imagine that the area is not accessible. We received hundreds of messages, people asking us, is it possible to come to your place? Of course it's possible. The press also wants that the area was not accessible. It was a real problem. For example, there was an example with a French media that announced that some cities in Wallonia was not accessible for several months, which was wrong. So we can start as the geopark, we can work positively with the press, but sometimes it's quite difficult. So we have to give more and more information and good information for the press and for the visitors. So what are the questions about who is responsible of what happened? Were the warning messages properly issued by the municipalities and the emergency services and so on? The question of the management of dams was also raised by Wallon Liver. We are not really concerned in our geopark, but it may concern the province of Liège. Also, the map of flood zone and its use as municipal level must be reviewed. The use of all tanks, petrol station, in the alluvial plain must be also controlled. The effect of soil artificialization is being questioned. Also reflection of land use planning. And as you know, the need to plant hedges and trees to counteract flooding. That's also important. At this moment, the Walloon government decided to launch a political commission to analyze what happened, what we have to do in the future in the same situation. At the end of July, the Walloon government recognized the floods as a natural disaster. It means that in addition to insurance companies, the inhabitants affected by the floods of these municipalities, so I remember you 202 municipalities in the Walloon part of Belgium, will be able to receive financial compensation from Wallonia. Of course, it means for our geopark, these floods are a brand new phenomenon, of course. So we have to work in the future in relation of the 17 points of sustainable development, of course, mainly now, of course, of climate action, because it's brand new for us. You know, this kind of floods We met 5 weeks ago. It's brand new for the area. So we are also concerned during the thirds with the point 1, no poverty, zero hunger, also the good health and well-being, and also, of course, clean water and sanitation. So I thank you for your attention. So we are working on with the geopark of what we are going to do. I think all the municipalities are working with all the insurance companies at this moment to help the inhabitants and thinking about the future. What do we have to do to avoid this kind of floods and so on. So I thank you very much.
To us how the situation was, and also to see how the geopark can support the local communities and can really do different understanding of these floodings. So I think it's a good, very, very good example on how we can work in geoparks. And of course, when we look upon water, it is a renewable resource, and it's renewable in a positive way for energy, for example. But when it's wild, like in this situation, it's unstoppable and really harmful for our communities. But this brings us to the next presentation, because that is also a very interesting issue brought to us by Guillaume Puras-Castells from Origins Geoparks. But he's also talking about not only the examples from his own geopark, but this is a project in the Spanish geoparks, renewable energy versus sustainable development in Spanish UGGPs. That is, of course, an issue that concerns us all, how to combine renewable issues with continuous sustainability. So, Guillaume, I think you are already ready.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to start by thanking Papuk Geopark for organizing the 5th EGN digital meeting and for the opportunity to share an issue that concerns some Spanish geoparks. My brief presentation is focused on the dilemma of renewable energy project versus sustainable development in Spanish geopark. Please let me know if you can see my presentation correctly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's perfect, Guillaume, it's fine.
Okay, thank you. This presentation is structured as follows: an introduction and background, current situation, actions promoted by the Spanish geoparks, and conclusion. Well, I am speaking on behalf of the Spanish Geopark Forum Renewable Energy Working Group. This working group includes 5 geoparks shown in the map with large red dots: Granada, Maestrazgo, Las Loras, Coral Mountains, and Origins Geopark. The Spanish National Integrated Energy and Climate Plan is the planning tool proposed by the Spanish government to meet the goals of the European Union in the framework of energy and climate policy. The implementation of the measures contemplated by the plan have the ultimate goal of achieving climate neutrality by 2050. This plan emphasizes a significant increase in the generation of energy from renewable sources. The aim is to install 59 gigawatts of additional renewable capacity. The following figures taken from the report plan submitted for public information illustrate an estimation of the distribution of the different technologies. This increase in the generation of energy from renewable resources, by its nature, has a high territorial impact. The Spanish government recommends avoiding the occupation and deterioration of areas of importance for biodiversity, protected natural areas, Natura 2000, areas protected by international instruments, including geoparks. However, the Spanish government recommendation, the current reality in some Spanish geoparks are under pressure for the construction of wind and photovoltaic farms involving macro projects with up to 10,000 hectares of solar panels or 1,700 megawatts wind farms in a single geopark. It should be noted that the renewable energy projects currently being processed in Spain exceed by far the 2030 target, and there is a real boom in rural areas. Moreover, there is a number of wind farm projects located along some of the geopark borders and with significant visual impact, where geoparks have no legal capacity to deal with. These projects are putting at risk our valuable territories and their sustainable local development due to the naturalization of landscape and their impact over the natural and cultural heritage. In addition, they influence and promote the loss of identity and the devaluation of our territories. On the other hand, photovoltaic farms are generally projected on agricultural land where traditional and sustainable activities are carried out. Renewables do not represent an increase in stable jobs. On the contrary, they often displace or compromise positions related to traditional agricultural activities. The derived effect is an increase in the depopulation and aging trend of these territories. Finally, but not least, another negative effect to the geoparks is the social division of the population or municipalities between those who favor and those who have a negative opinion. Social confrontation should be avoided as an environment of conflict may obstruct the promotion of activities or proposals for the benefit of the local population within the geopark. As a Spanish geopark, we give great importance to the social consensus achieved in our territories. It should be noted that behind this sense, there is a very powerful business economic interest and that the public administration is shortening the project's approval period in order to reach as soon as possible the objective committed at European level. The geopark local population is highly empowered in Spanish geopark, and local community demands from the management bodies a firm resounding position on the macro project. To get an idea, some of the local platforms have collected up to 20,000 signatures per one territory against these macro projects. As the action promoted by the Spanish geoparks, given that this was a problem shared by several geoparks, in early this year, the Spanish Forum set up a working group to tackle this issue. The working group was carried out joint actions on this direction, such as publication of a brief article in newsletter of the EGN to make this situation known to other geoparks in Europe and thus be able to share and learn about from other territories. The Spanish National Committee was requested to take into account the geopark territories for the correct implementation of renewable energies project. There is a demand to national and regional governments to develop the law on natural heritage and biodiversity following the UNESCO Global Geoparks Conservation and Protection Criterion. Some of the action carried out by the individual geoparks are create popular forums to provide information to the local population and facilitate debate. For example, Granada is in the image. Approve moratoriums at local and regional government level to provide the required time to analyze how these energies should be deployed in a more orderly and sustainable way. Production of reports addressing the impact of these projects on the environment, landscape, and agriculture activity. These reports will propose a series of tools for local entities to ensure the sustainable development of these municipalities, for example, in Origins Geopark. I would like to showcase a success experience specifically in the Villuercas y Borras Jara Geopark Although on a different topic, this case had similar impacts for the territory that may serve as a source of inspiration. This was a mining exploration survey on areas that intersected traditional agricultural activities in two villages and a geosite. Taking advantage of the fact that there was a revalidation mission that year, the social platform gave to the UNESCO evaluators a letter expressing their concern. The evaluators sent the letter to the UNESCO Secretariat, who asked the Geopark Council for a full report. The project was finally rejected. As a conclusion, I would like to say that the ultimate goal is to ensure an adequate implementation of renewable energies to mitigate the effects of the climate change. However, rural territories are not renewable. For this reason, it is necessary to study the situation in detail to guarantee a sustainable deployment of these projects. The generation of energy should be as close as possible to the centers of greatest use, as this will help reducing their impact. Moreover, we must contribute to raise society awareness on responsible consumption and to provide support towards the development of self-sufficient communities. And finally, the sustainability of any project is a fundamental criterion whose non-observance is always the source of greater poverty or exploitation for the territory and its inhabitants. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Guillaume, for pointing out so important assets, so important points concerning we all know that we need a lot of energy, but where is it going to come from? And we know, as you pointed out also, that the geoparks do work inside the frame of sustainability and conservation of nature. So it's really a big issue you have touched upon now. And I'm very curious, Mariana, if there are any comments, or of course now you are free to yes, also raise your hand and ask questions for all the three presenters.
We have only great talk, great conclusions, very interesting, great job, compliments. These are the comments. But it will be good to hear you also. So if you can just raise your hand for the questions.
I think that items here, all three items concerns us all. We all have, all over the area of Europe, we have the same problems, we have the same issues, we have the same consequences of destruction of nature. So we have seen examples of nature destructing by natural processes, but also what we do as human beings. So I don't see
anybody raising hand. Okay. So only the compliments. So you're doing the good job.
Okay. And
but
thank you so much for the presenters so far, because this was some different topics, a little bit different topics, but now we have seen a lot of, was there any?
Okay. Yes, one, thank you so much. A big pressure and difficult task, how to guarantee the sustainable deployment of the projects. Okay.
Jutta.
Okay, thank you, Christine. I have raised my hand. I have a comment to Guillaume regarding the renewable energy. We have also this problem in Germany regarding wind energy, and we have cooperated with the German Commission for UNESCO and have done a series of workshops. And during these workshops, we have invited experts from university and also from the wind farming industry. And finally, we have produced a so-called gray paper, a paper including some advices how to deal as UNESCO Global Geopark with the issue when a wind farm is intended to be implemented inside the territory. And we have also developed and identified criteria which we should consider and which we should report to the Commission, that it's clear that that we deal with this problem and that we try to protect our environment as good as possible. So this is just for your information. Maybe if you are interested, we can keep contact about that. And maybe this could be helpful for you, and your experiences could also be helpful for us. So thank you very much. And also to my other two colleagues who have presented such fascinating and also touching presentations.
Yeah, thank you, Jutta, and also thank to Liz from Astrasco about the comment for how to secure the sustainability. I think that is the main question, and of course nobody has the answer, the right answer. It can differ also, but it is really pointing to the big challenge that we have. We need the energy, but we do also want to conserve nature. So, and cultural heritage, but also that is pointing towards also the last presentation for today, but we have to wait to hear how they work in Vulkaneifel. But if there are another question?
I have another comment. Okay. The proposal of Jutta is an issue that the National Four could deal with. We can talk tomorrow if you like.
Yeah, but that was also from...
Yes.
I don't see.
Okay. I will assist you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is... Yeah. Yes, of course. And because nature and a need of energy doesn't follow either any national borders. So this is really some issues that will connect us all. So maybe it will be... Babis just said that this one can also be raised to the National Committee meetings tomorrow.
Okay.
So this discussion is not over, but I think maybe we need to move on. So we'll do the same. We will now have 3 presentations, and we will have time after that to have questions and comments. And of course, we can also continue the discussion if there are any ones that are having new questions for the 3 first. We can deal with that. So we have seen water, but we also know that there has been severe droughts and lack of water in Europe and other places in the world. And it's interesting now to invite Angelo Merlino from Madoni Geopark to talk about the forest fires in Italy. I'm not sure that I really got the title, but you have used my title. That's good. But please, I think your presentation is already perfect. So we are looking forward now to hear from Madoni, Angelo Merlino. Angelo, you need to unmute your microphone.
Hear me?
Yeah. Good. Yes.
Okay. Good morning to everybody. I'm Angelo Merlino. Since 2020 June of the last year, I'm president of Geopark Madoni. Nice to meet you to everybody. My presentation is intitulated "The Forest Fires in Italy, Madoni in Summer 2021." The Madoni Geopark is a UNESCO Global Geopark, lies in central northern of Sicily and extending along a belt between the Tyrrhenian Sea to the north, the Imera River to the west, the Pollena River to the east, and the center of the Sclafani Bagni, Caltavoturo, Polizia and Generosa to the south. It is composed of 50 municipalities, and the protected area is extended more or less for 4,000 hectares. This is a sheet of with the zones of the park. The landscape is varied. The central area is characterized by presence of calcareous spikes, soaring peaks, cliff, and very steep slopes that at times become more or less extent rich in basin and dolines. The mountain reach the highest elevation of the islands with the Pizzo Carbonara, Pizzo Antenna, Monte San Salvatore, and Monte dei Cervi. Central Massif has no surface water supply and is characterized by sinkholes, caves, abysses. In other areas, the natural landscape is characterized by wide valleys, deep furrow, narrow gorges, and Lusturian riparian vegetation. The geological history is varied of the Madonie and dates back about 20 million years ago, with the deposition of the sedimentary rocks in a sea basins. Starting from the Oligocene, a phase of compression to the Earth's crust begins, which led to the bending and compression of the rock, which rising gave rise to the mountainous group that today is possible to admire. In this slide, I can show a new geosite park maps with 67 geosite inside and outside of the territory of the park. Some geosite like Fortress of Santo Tiero, Piano Battaglia Plateau with the corals affluation, the urban geological path of Sclafani Bagni town. It is one of the 5 urban geological paths that we find in the Madonie Geopark. The Tiberio Gorgs and the salt mine of Petralia Soprana town with the Museum of the Salt. Unfortunately, this summer is characterized by a series of fires. We can see in the slide upper left, sorry, that we show the fire in the night, and in the upper right, the fire in the same time that are burning all the part of the northern Sicily. It is interested also geosite of the Quacella Pan geosite. This is the most important geosite, but not only a Quacella Pan is interested, also other geosite. In this slide, we can show a study of rural group of the University of Reggio Calabria carrying out throughout the remote sensing techniques. And the damages has been estimated in 5% of the entire surface of the park, more or less 2,000 hectares. In this slide, it is present the zone that is interested of the barn with the elencation of the barn zone A, B, D in the Madonie Regional Park. And the action of the Madonie Geopark to restore the damages of the barns, with a service campaign to quantify the damages, in example of fauna and flora or biodiversity in general, a crowdfunding campaign with many action to other side the Amaro de Carabiniere, that a part of the sale will be donated of the park initiative, or like a excursion with a fee that will be destined to increase the crowdfunding. In a medium-term action to the forest environmental restoration of the territories interested by the fire. Thank you very much, and I invite to everybody to visit the Madonie Geopark and the beauty is that is present in fantastic territory. Thank you very much.
I think we all are shocked to see the consequences of the forest fires and how it destructs the area for a long time. And we have seen also other pictures from Italy, and it's really so sad, but it was good to see how you also coped and became active in the geopark. I guess it was not on your work plan to work with campaigns like this, but it's important that that we can do these and carry out these actions. And we have talked about forest fires, we have talked about water. Water in the floods is a scary thing, but also water is a resource. And we realize that the communities are maybe not always understanding the value of water. And I think that is a little bit about the exhibition that you have had in Terra Vita. So I'd like to invite now Tobias Fischer that will present to us a water exhibition that they had in the Museum of Industrial Culture in their geopark. Tobias, you are there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. And if you manage to put your presentation in full, there, perfect.
Yeah, you have the full screen?
Now.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much that you allow me to present our water exhibition in the Museum of Industrial Culture. I'm Tobias Fischer from UNESCO Global Geopark Terra Vita. I'm a geologist here. And before I tell you something about the exhibition itself, I would like to introduce the museum and where you are now in this talk. So the UNESCO Global Geopark Terra Vita is in the northwesternmost branch or appendix of the Central Mountains. We always say we're like the first mountain south of Scandinavia here. And if we zoom in this area, you can see a geologic map. You see that our geology is very colorful, as we say. So it looks a little bit like a Picasso painting. And this is because we have 300 million years of nearly gapless Earth history on a quite small scale area of just 1,500 square kilometers. So we have a very high geodiversity. And we will zoom further in this area, which I always say it's always like our geopark's heart. And this is a Piesberg. It's a huge quarry, one of the largest hard rock quarries in Europe. And it has rocks from the Upper Carboniferous, so more than 300 million years old, quartzites, black coal, and clay stones. And these rocks are famous for having fossils from an ancient swarm forest, like trees and plants, but also insects and arthropods. So in the past 15 years, you can say, we established, together with the city of Osnabrück, a cultural and environmental park in this area, having an 8-kilometer long hiking trail, viewing points, and also like classical information panels, but also more new experience stations. We of course do field trips inside the quarry itself. So as you can see, it's still active. There's is mining, which lasts actually back before Christ. So for example, the megalithic tombs, they were created of the quartzite there 5,000 years ago. And more industrial mining, let's say, is taking place since the medieval times. So until 1898, there was mining of black coal, and today there's still mining of the Carboniferous quartzite. So here, this is the Carboniferous quartzite, this brownish, and the black coal are this blackish lines, or you can also see a black hole in a collapsed gallery, and the gallery was built there in the 19th century, and now you can see it in the rock wall and the active quarry wall. So because of this long mining tradition, we have many mining relicts in this area, such as the railway cut, which is nowadays still used to transport tourists, or historical buildings. And the Museum for Industrial Culture, which you can see here from outside, is one of these historical buildings. It was established in 1871 as a Haseschaft mining building, and then In the 20th century, it was destroyed and renovated in 1994 and re-established as a museum presenting the local mining and industrial history. So it has a lot of machines from the mining history of Piesberg in an outside area, but also inside. Inside the machines are still running. In the 19th century, they were running with steam. Nowadays, they're running with electricity. And the highlight of this museum is a glass elevator going into 30-meter depths into the Hase Mining Gallery, which you can see here. And if you follow the Hase Mining Gallery to the end, then there's another outdoor area. And in this outdoor area, there's another historical building, which you can see on this picture. And these are the former pitted bars. Here you can see a photo from the around 1900 from inside this building. So the pitted bars were for the miners to take the shower. Here, these were showers, and to change your clothes. And the special thing about this mining buildings is that the clothes were hanging underneath the ceiling. So the miners had to use a metal rope or metal chain to get the clothes, to get them down, and then changing clothes and get their clothes again up. And now today, this special exhibition is taking place in this building, and the main object, which are these water buckets, these metal water buckets, are they're hanging now from the ceiling, as in the past the clothes from the miners are hanging there. So the special exhibition, it's in German called Über Wasser. So it has two meanings in German. On the one hand, it means like being above water, like keeps the head above water, or to float on water. On the other hand, it means like something like to talk about water. So it's on water. The entire concept is by Dr. Vera Hieholzer. She's the museum's director, and she did the concept together with Jan Tönnes, the museum's education. And it was opened on the 22nd of March, the World Water Day. So here you can see Mrs. Hieholzer standing with a small image. So I already introduced the main object in the entrance hall. You can see another picture of this. And this is the very special thing. So you have more than 120 metal water buckets, which are, all of these buckets are targeting the topic water in any sense, what you can imagine. The special thing is that it was contributed and created by more than 70 local actors. So there are schools which contributed buckets, sanitary companies, nature conservation organizations, companies from agriculture, forestry, the city itself, communities around. So there are a lot of many different partners contributing these buckets. So Mrs. Hieholzer was coming with this idea to us with a concept, and also saying that she has the idea to ask as many local actors as possible. So one of our tasks was not only to contribute with buckets, but also to use our network or local network to motivate local actors to contribute water buckets to this exhibition. As you can see, if we in the end have 120 buckets, it was quite successful idea Mrs. Hieholzer had. So all these water buckets, they are interactive. They have some created games or created videos, as you can see, or audios, or just simple hands-on objects everybody can use. For example, one of our buckets is just filled with a quartzite, which is still mined today. And we explain how this Carboniferous quartzite formed more than 300 million years ago in relation to water. So it deposited in a braided river system in this swampy area. So without having water, the rocks could not have been formed. And of course, erosion took place over the million years. So also water formed the rocks and the entire landscapes there. So glaciers formed the Piesberg mountain itself. This kind of stories we tell on small plates connected to the on the water buckets. the water buckets were not hanging there just like this. They were sorted into organized in 4 different topics. One topic is natural water, so about our local environment, how animals need water. One topic is the use of water, so as drinking water, for agriculture, for producing our clothes, for example. One topic is threatened water. And this was initially the idea, or this was the idea given to Mrs. Hierholzer, because in the past 3 years, from 2018 to 20, Central Europe suffered from a drought, and also our area is affected a lot by this. By this drought, especially spruces, but also other trees suffered from the drought. And these trees, the spruces, they were organized in monocultural areas on mountain slopes, and now all these forests died because of the drought. And nowadays our environment, here's a picture from Teutoburg Forest in south of our area. They're completely, the trees needed to be logged. So there's also a lot of soil erosion now, because there's nearly no vegetation cover anymore. So this is a very big problem here, and concerning also the politics here a lot in the moment, and also our geopark. We also therefore had a forest conference 2 years ago to talk about, or last year, to talk about this topic with local actors in our area. And the fourth topic is global water, meaning like what effect has our treatment with water here on global scale. For example, the per head consumption or per head production of plastic in Germany is the highest in the world. And not all of this plastic can be recycled and ends up in rivers and lakes and seas. So these are the 4 topics discussed here. And also in the second part, in this main hall, second main object is a photographic exhibition, also organized in these 4 topics. So the topics are like organized in corners. So here you have the natural water, here you have used water. And at the wall, they're hanging these photographs by the Photographical Society of Osnabrück. And they're from several topics which are concerning us in the moment. So they're also like socially critical and really make you thinking if you watch them. And it really shows the diversity of water, that water is connected to many different topics. So it's, of course, drinking water, pollution of water, but also if you think about the refugee crisis, here you can see refugee boats floating on the Mediterranean Sea. There are many topics which you can connect to the topic of water, to the topic water. Another thing there in this hall is a map of the Hase River, but it's not the river course of today, but from 1814. So these are like these old maps from that time. And so the visitors can see like, oh, this is my village, or I live there. And then they see like, well, that in the past, this river, the Hase River is one of the main rivers in our geopark area, changed a lot during the 200 years. It was straightened, and of course the settlement density increased a lot. So, and there are also further rooms which tackle some more topics on water. Just want to give you 2 examples which I like very much. So this tower of water buckets represents our daily water consumption. If you also count, for example, the production of our clothes or agriculture. So this is our daily water consumption. Everybody of us here sitting here is consuming every day. And they also talk about quite actual or topics which come up in the future, like submarine mining. For example, there's the idea to mine manganese nodules in the deep sea because they have a very high economic potential. But of course, it has big side effects, not only for the deep sea ecosystem, but also for climate change. So I want to thank you a lot with this last comic. I guess you saw it maybe already in other talks. also connected to water. So these are the 4 tsunami waves we are confronted with in the next years and decades. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tobias, for this very interesting, more enlightening presentation than we had in the newsletter. It was really valuable to see how you combined all these different areas and also made the people active, involved them in your exhibition, and hopefully you had a lot of visitors. If I were there, I would certainly go visit this exhibition. And it's also interesting to see how you point out both the life and the importance of water, how much we are using really per capita, and also the future prospects. And also thank you for the last picture, which of course was by a very good introduction to the next and the last speaker of today, because and this is some kind of summing up all the presentations today. How can we manage to plan to try to minimize the effect that the human activities have on the climate and the climate changes, and how can we do that without the loss of nature? Because the loss of nature, if we lose the insects, what can we do? We will have maybe no chance. So I'm very much looking forward to the next presentation, the last one. That will be held by Hendrik Albrecht and Laura Kramer from Vulkaneifel. And this is about a project that they have in this geopark. And the title is Insect Noise Vulkaneifel, Creating Insect Habitats in Urban Spaces. So I hope you are there and ready, and I can see your presentation already in full screen. So if you also have your voices, I think we're ready. Yeah. Okay. Good. Good to see you also.
Yeah, we all start. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present our small but nice and important project, Insect Noise Vulkaneifel. It started here at the Nature Conservation Authority as a very small project, and then in cooperation with the Climate Protection Department, it got bigger and bigger, and now it's all over the whole county. So, as I'm a biologist, I want to give some background information about insects and why is it important to protect insects, and where is the connection between the protection of insects and the climate protection. So, the reason why to protect insects. Insects make up to 50% of all animal inhabitants of the earth. However, it's an animal group which is not very well investigated, so we do not know very much about them. But what we know is that there is an insect decline, and this is also due to climate change. The insects are indispensable helpers for us people because we need them for the pollination, so we need them in food production, but also in agriculture. They are very important for the regeneration of soil, for example, when they decompose plant material to fresher soil, so to say. So the insects are really threatened. As an example, I can give you the wild bees. It's a well-known family, I think. In Germany, we have about 560 species, and over 50% are threatened to continuous existence, or already extinct. Only about 37% are considered as safe. So the reasons for this is particularly the intensification of our land use. This is, for example, of course, in agricultural cultivated lands the case, but also in our areas. Here we have large areas of frequently mowed garden lawns and gravel gardens. Those environments are really sterile environments for the insects because they have no nesting opportunity. They do not find food there. And in Germany, it's a kind of common sport to mow the lawn every Saturday when the sun comes out. So in Germany, private gardens are about half the size of all German national parks and nature reserves. So there's immense potential for biodiversity conservation and also climate protection. Climate protection here, because gravel gardens, yeah, they do not have, have an impact on the climate because they create heat island effects. So they heat up, and in contrast, some natural grasslands can save more water, can cool down the air. So it is relatively easy to protect the insects and also to protect the climate. So just do not cut your lawn, create white areas, let the plants grow, and use native seeds material, forbs and bushes, and sometimes less maintenance is more, especially in public green spaces. And we need more wild biodiverse in areas, also in the urban areas, and this is our aim with the project.
Exactly. So the project itself, Insektenoase Vulkaneifel, which translates to Insect Oasis Vulkaneifel. How did we commence this project? So it is a collaboration of the Vulkaneifel County, which is us, we work as, and with the Kreissparkasse Vulkaneifel. The Kreissparkasse is a local bank, and it is also our sponsor. So they reached out to us and they said, okay, we would like to do a sustainability project with you. And when we talked about it, it was pretty fast. It was clear to us that we want to, on one hand, implement the measures, so take action and change something, but we also want to educate the public, because we think that it's like very important to just get out there and reach out to the people and show them what is really important. And then the reason, or one reason why we chose to do like the insect protection project is, I don't know if any of you have been here before to the Vulkaneifel, but we are a very rural, natural area with the volcanic lakes and just the generally very natural landscape. And there's people who say we are already very green, we don't need more green. Yeah, this is like a common thing that is being thought by people living here, and I think in very rural landscapes. However, green is not always green. You know, there's different kinds of green that are more or less valuable for insects and for biodiversity. So as Hendrik said already, gravel gardens and perfectly cut lawn are very observable throughout the area. So we found it very important to reach out also to the public and raise awareness to this problem, that even though you may have like a very green backyard, that is still could be better. So how did we initiate the project? As said, we had like some money from the local bank, and then we decided to contact all schools and villages in the county area. And we just simply offered them a conversion of up to 400 square meters per inner city or per village, per school of inner city area that could be converted into wildflower meadow. And I think this is the key point, kind of, that it was very low threshold. So we just contacted them and we said, just offer us an area that you would like to change, and that's all you have to do. So we provide the seeds and we provide the work. The reason we could provide the work is that we have a cooperation with the NEZ, it's the Nature Experience Center, it is called, and they have the workforce, and they just could convert all these areas. So what happened is that we got, for us, overwhelming and really good response. More than 35 villages or schools reacted to our call. And that's also a thing we found very important, that we don't just go out and change things, but we let people apply to us. So we let them say, we want to do it. So that also ensures that in the future, the participants really have an interest and keep to it, and like wanted to stay the same way. So 30,000 square meters were offered from villages and from schools to be converted. And we actively converted about 10,000 square meters of those. It started in May, but June and July were mostly the months that we converted it. You can see that there's a kind of a gap between 30,000 and 10,000, but the reason for that is that, so if we had 400 square meters offered, we converted actively 100 square meters just and also gave them instructions or just like, yeah, little information on how they could care for it. So within the course of the years, it would develop, the rest of the area would develop by itself. So that is also very important for us, that we just gave them like the instructions on how to move on with this area. Yeah, now you can see a little example of what happened since. This now is an area, they call it Wildflower Meadow with Heart. You can see here it's a little heart that they did. The village, they converted that themselves. There was also an option if they had the woman power to do it, and the machines, of course, they could also do it by themselves. And you can see that within 3 months here, you can see the house up here, that you can see here that it is now a nicer wildflower meadow. Of course, this is the first year still, and there's going to be a bigger variety of plants to be expected next in the upcoming years, because we have perennial and native seeds implemented there. So that is just one example of a city who did that. And then this is an area at a school here, local school. They also converted like the little part of the yard that they usually use the kids to play on and everything. And you can see here how it grew after a month. It looked like that, and now it looks like that. But it's of course just a small area, but it is used also for the schools as education. So they go there in biology, for example, and they like look at the insects, at the different plants, and just kind of give that information to the kids. And so the kids are also proud of it, and they go home and tell their parents about it, and they just act as multipliers in that sense. Yeah, they maybe question the backyard of their parents or something, and just bring out that topic into the world and hope that it can be implemented and changed in different parts as well. Yeah, future plans. I mean, we have many plans and many dreams. We would, of course, like to educate and raise awareness more in campaigning or in information events, and just keep the network that we already started running and expand it a bit, just to keep the topic alive and just inform people of how important all this is. We can, of course, expand the measures. We can, for example, extend it to orchards, or creating more other living habitats for the animals, and also integrate private people, because this, of course, was now communities and schools, and we cannot convert every like private yard, but we can just, we're going to do like a photo competition and everything, just to spread the word and show them what can be done. But it's just a small wild area in your backyard can also be a big help for biodiversity. So we're a comparably small project, but also small changes can make a big difference. And with that, we would like to thank you for your attention very much.
Thank you very much, Henrik and Laura. And what can I say? Because when we were planning these presentations, we asked them, I got the impression that this was a small project. I think it was really an eye-opener, and it doesn't look for me as a small project, but it's rather a very, very important project, and a nice example again how geoparks can work directly towards the local population. And of course, this I hope that you have some comments and questions for this session, because for me it was a very good collection of examples in this time of so many changes and so many challenges in how geoparks can work in a really diverse way. And well, I'm just so proud of my colleagues.
Yes. Nice to hear that. Also nice to hear the comments. Excellent idea. Very good project. Well, very impressive, very inspirational. Very nice project. And so on and so on. Only the comments are positive. So if you have any questions, you can raise your hand right now. If not, you can also write down the text in the chat form in the Zoom application.
There is one.
Okay, we have one participant. Do you see and hear us? Hello?
Yeah, hello. My name is Roman Lenz. I'm just wondering how much money was spent for this insect oasis.
Yes, so we from the local sponsor, we got 5,000 euros. And we only, for this first part of the project, we only spent about 3,000 euros for that. And that just contains the seats pretty much. Oh, and we created little signs here, which you can also see in the background, that we put up in those places to inform the public. You know, if they walk past it, they see here we're creating habitats for insects and a QR code with further information. But yeah, 3,000 euros, I think, is what we spent so far. And we have a little bit left now for future ideas, which we are trying to implement.
That's very effective. This could stimulate others also to do it in a similar way. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you very much. I have one question in the chat form from Martina. She's asking, Ministry of Education or some other institution is involved? I suppose this question also goes for Laura and Hendrik.
Yeah, I think so.
So far, no ministry or institution is involved. It was just an idea from us that we tried to implement. And we have now, some people have reached out to us, for example, where we work with like a farm that they give classes for schools as well, but no ministry or anything has been involved yet.
Mm-hmm. Yet. Thank you very much for the answer. Do we have more hands raised? Okay, how do you like it so far? We are almost finished.
We're almost finished,
yes.
And a little bit ahead of time. That is not so usual.
Yes, 15 minutes before.
Yeah, but anyway, we know it's very hard to be sitting in the computer for nearly 5 hours. But I must say that I'm so happy that we have almost been able to transform the coffee machine talks, good idea spreading into the digital format. But I think I can't say it often enough how much I look forward to meet you again and do really the coffee machine talks again. But also I really hope that this session has been fruitful. I'm happy when Mariana reads the comments and they talk about inspirational, because that's what it's all about. It is about sharing and inspiring each other, because we cannot invent all good ideas in each geopark. So this is also one of the things that makes me very, very proud. And I was just thinking back to my own home place, our geopark, where all of the gardens are so perfectly cut. We have these robot things going there, destroying hedgehogs and making sure no flowers are blooming. We really need to spread the knowledge. We must make an effort to make people more understanding, because when you buy this robot lawn cutter, of course you don't think that you are destroying. You do the best for yourself, but we must make really awareness. So this is, but this is also for all the presentations, is about awareness, spreading knowledge, and carrying out examples so that people really can understand. So if there are no other comments?
No more questions. I have this long message, but it's, I think, some kind of information which you can all read in a chat form right now. So if we don't have any more questions, we can finish the first day.
Yeah. Yeah, we can.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much for being my co-host and presenter. Okay, so dear participants, thank you for being the part of the first day of our 5th EGN Digital Forum. See you tomorrow morning, and kind regards from Požega. Bye-bye.
So nice. Bye-bye. Oh.
Congratulations. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye to all of you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Отлично обавлено, Горана.
Hallo. Kannst du dir mal diese Einladungsliste aufmachen? Mal was durchsprechen.